Good morning/afternoon, everyone. I'm excited to dive into today's topic, mastering nonverbal communication. We'll explore how understanding body language, gestures, and other nonverbal cues can deepen our connections beyond just words. We'll look at different types of nonverbal communication, how culture shapes the way we interpret these signals, the critical role they play in the workplace, and even how they're adapting in our increasingly digital world. Let's get started and unlock the powerful language beyond speech. Nonverbal communication is all about sharing messages without actually using words. Instead of speaking, we rely on things like facial expressions, body language, gestures, eye contact, and even the tone of our voice to express what we're feeling or thinking. This type of communication plays a crucial role in how we connect with others because it often reveals much more than the words we say. When we become skilled at interpreting and using these nonverbal signals, it can significantly improve our relationships, both personal and professional, by making our interactions clearer and more emotionally connected. In many ways, nonverbal communication is just as important, if not more so, than the words themselves, as it helps convey the full meaning behind our ideas and emotions. When we talk about nonverbal communication, there are several key types to consider. First, facial expressions and body language play a huge role. Our faces can clearly show emotions like happiness, anger, or surprise without saying a word. At the same time, body language, including our posture and movements, helps reveal what we're really feeling or intending, sometimes even more than our words do. Next, we have gestures, posture, and eye contact. Gestures are deliberate hand or arm movements that carry specific meanings, like a thumbs up or a wave. Posture is also important. The way someone holds their body can convey confidence or, conversely, submission. Eye contact is especially powerful too. It can show whether someone is paying attention, interested, or even feeling hostile during a conversation. Finally, we come to proxemics and paralanguage. Proxemics is all about how we use space, how close or far we stand from others, which can say a lot about the relationship or the situation. Paralanguage covers the vocal elements of communication, like tone, pitch, volume, and how fast or slow someone speaks. These vocal cues can drastically change how a message is perceived, adding subtle layers of meaning beyond the actual words spoken. Together, these types of nonverbal communication give us a richer understanding of each other. Nonverbal communication plays a crucial role in how effectively we convey messages, with research showing that as much as 93% of communication effectiveness comes from nonverbal cues alone. These signals are especially important in personal relationships, where they help us express emotions that might be hard to put into words. In the professional world, nonverbal communication shapes how leaders are perceived, builds trust among colleagues, and supports teamwork. When it comes to negotiation, being skilled at reading and using nonverbal signals can lead to better outcomes by helping us understand what's unspoken and manage impressions more effectively. Ultimately, nonverbal cues are key to building trust, as they allow people to express and interpret feelings clearly beyond just words. Nonverbal communication varies widely across different cultures, and this diversity plays a crucial role in how messages are interpreted and how interactions unfold. Take eye contact, for example. In many Western cultures, maintaining direct eye contact is seen as a sign of honesty and confidence. However, in some Asian cultures, it can be interpreted as disrespectful or even confrontational. Similarly, gestures carry different meanings around the world. The thumbs up sign, which is positive in many places, might be considered offensive in others. Another important aspect is personal space. What feels like an appropriate distance in one culture might feel too close or too distant in another, impacting comfort during conversations. Understanding these cultural differences is key to communicating effectively across borders and avoiding misunderstandings. Nonverbal communication plays a crucial role in the workplace, especially during meetings and negotiations, where it can significantly influence how interactions unfold. For leaders, using open body language and positive facial expressions isn't just about looking approachable. It actually builds trust and motivates the team. We can also read a lot about team dynamics through body language, like signs of engagement or disagreement, which helps us understand the underlying mood without words. When conflict arises, Being attuned to these nonverbal signals can guide us toward resolution more effectively and keep productivity high. Developing this sensitivity doesn't just improve personal connections, it strengthens collaboration and makes leadership more effective overall. Essentially, nonverbal communication shapes much of what happens in professional settings, influencing outcomes in profound and subtle ways. When it comes to reading nonverbal cues effectively, the first step is to observe clusters of signals instead of focusing on just one isolated gesture. It's the combination of multiple cues that gives us a clearer picture. Next, always keep the context in mind. Understanding the situation around the interaction helps us interpret these cues more accurately. Another important step is to watch for inconsistencies between what someone says and their nonverbal behavior, as these differences can reveal hidden feelings or intentions. Also, pay attention to how facial expression, gestures, and posture work together, since combined expressions often communicate more than any single gesture. Finally, practicing active listening and empathy allows us to connect better with others, making it easier to interpret their emotions and intentions, which ultimately leads to clearer communication and stronger relationships. When it comes to nonverbal communication, there are several common mistakes that can lead to misunderstandings. First, misinterpreting cues often happens when we take gestures or expressions out of context, which can change their intended meaning. Next, overgeneralizing gestures is another pitfall. Assuming one specific gesture always means the same thing can be misleading. Cultural differences play a big role too. Ignoring these differences can cause signal interpretation to go awry because gestures or expressions might mean something completely different across cultures. Another frequent issue is sending mixed messages, like verbally agreeing but showing disagreement through body language, which creates confusion. Lastly, unintentional negative behaviors, such as touching the face or avoiding eye contact, can be perceived negatively even if they're not meant that way. Being unaware of our own body language can erode trust and lead to misunderstandings, so it's vital to stay mindful of these common mistakes. When we communicate digitally, we lose many of the traditional nonverbal cues that help us understand each other, which can often lead to misunderstandings. To compensate, people use tools like emoticons, GIFs, and video calls to express tone and emotion more clearly. Still, the lack of physical presence means we can't fully pick up on emotional signals. To adapt, it's important to sharpen our nonverbal skills for these platforms. This includes being a careful listener, adjusting the tone of our voice and audio messages, and ensuring our written messages are clear and concise. By focusing on clarity in our writing, we can maintain strong and effective interpersonal connections even through digital communication. Nonverbal communication plays a fundamental role in how we connect with others. It's a key part of our interactions that often speaks louder than words. Rather than relying on a single gesture or expression, multiple nonverbal cues work together to convey our messages more effectively. It's also important to remember that culture shapes how these cues are interpreted, so what means one thing in one context might mean something different in another. By mastering these nonverbal skills, we can significantly enhance both our personal and professional relationships. However, becoming proficient at reading these signals takes practice and a careful look at clusters of cues rather than isolated signs. Lastly, while technology changes how we communicate, it doesn't eliminate the importance of nonverbal communication. It simply shifts the way we express and interpret these signals. To wrap up, it's clear that developing awareness and refining our nonverbal communication skills can truly deepen our connections with others and reduce misunderstandings. This awareness not only strengthens how we communicate in everyday situations, but also helps us navigate more diverse settings with confidence. I encourage everyone to pay close attention to both their own nonverbal cues and those of the people they interact with regularly. By embracing empathy, cultural sensitivity, and mindfulness, whether face-to-face or in digital interactions, we can become more effective and impactful communicators. Let's commit to practicing mindful communication to foster clearer, more meaningful exchanges moving forward. Now that we've covered the main content, I want to point you to some valuable resources to deepen your understanding. First, I highly recommend the book, The Definitive Book of Body Language by Alan and Barbara Pease. It offers great insights into nonverbal cues and how to interpret them. There are also plenty of online courses available that focus specifically on body language and communication skills, which can be really helpful for hands-on learning. For those who enjoy video content, TED Talks are an excellent resource, especially talks by experts like Amy Cuddy, who explore how body language influences our interactions. If you're interested in a more academic angle, there are numerous scholarly articles and research papers published in communication journals that provide detailed studies and analyses. Lastly, I encourage you to participate now. Feel free to ask questions or share any experiences you have related to nonverbal communication. Engaging with others can really enhance how we apply these concepts in real life.